They say that a person's last words carry the weight of their entire life. I never believed that until the night my father whispered something to me with his dying breath, words that shattered everything I thought I knew about him, about my family, and about myself. It was supposed to be a peaceful goodbye, a moment of closure between a daughter and her father. Instead, it became the crack that split my world apart. Before I dive into this story, I need you to understand something. What you're about to hear isn't just about family secrets. It's about how one hidden truth can change everything you believed about your own identity. And if you want more unforgettable stories like this, you need to subscribe right now to Life's Secret Stories. Every week, new secrets are revealed, some shocking, some heartbreaking, but all unforgettable. My father had always been my rock. He wasn't perfect, no parent is, but I trusted him more than anyone. He was the man who taught me to ride a bike, who walked me to school, who sat in the bleachers at every recital, cheering louder than anyone else. He was strong, proud, and stubborn, the kind of man who didn't like to show weakness. But life has a cruel way of reminding us that even our heroes are human. My father had been sick for months, fighting a battle with an illness that slowly stripped him of his strength. By the time he was in hospice, I knew the end was near. I tried to prepare myself, but how do you prepare for losing the person who raised you? The night it happened, I was sitting by his bedside, holding his hand. His breaths were shallow, his skin cold, but his eyes, those sharp, familiar eyes, still held a spark of something. He motioned for me to lean closer. I thought he wanted to say goodbye, to whisper something like, "I love you," or "Take care of your mother." But what he said wasn't love. It wasn't comfort. It was a confession. "I'm not your father." My heart stopped. I pulled back, thinking I misheard, but his lips parted again, straining to form the words. "The man you call Dad isn't really your father. I promised your mother I'd never tell. But I couldn't leave this world without you knowing." And then, as if those words were all the strength he had left, his hand slipped from mine, and he was gone. I sat there frozen, unable to process what I had just heard. My father, my dad, the man I had loved my entire life, wasn't really my father? I wanted to scream, to shake him awake, to demand more answers, but it was too late. The man who carried the truth was gone, and all I had left was a whisper that would haunt me forever. At first, I refused to believe it. Maybe he was confused. Maybe it was the illness talking. But the more I thought about it, the more cracks I began to notice in the life I thought I knew. I remembered times when people commented that I didn't look much like him. I remembered the way my mother would sometimes go quiet when family history came up. And I remembered the strange, tense silence between them on certain anniversaries. The pieces began to fit, and I hated the picture they formed. I needed answers, and the only person left to give them was my mother. When I asked her, she broke down. At first, she denied it, but finally, she admitted the truth. She had loved another man before she married my dad. A man who disappeared from her life under mysterious circumstances. When she found out she was pregnant with me, she was terrified. My father, well, the man I thought was my father, had known all along. He had chosen to raise me as his own, to love me as his daughter, to never let me feel unwanted. And yet, knowing this didn't ease the pain. It made it worse. Because now I didn't just grieve his death, I grieved the truth I had been denied my whole life. Imagine discovering that your identity, the very foundation of who you are, has been built on a secret. Imagine realizing that the man you called Dad wasn't bound to you by blood, but by choice, and that he carried that secret silently until his last breath. This wasn't just a family revelation. It was an earthquake inside me. At this point, I need you to stop and think, what would you do if a dying whisper turned your world upside down? And if stories like this cut deep into your heart the way they do mine, make sure you subscribe right now to Life's Secret Stories. These are not just stories, they're truths that force us to question everything. For weeks after his death, I spiraled. I didn't know who I was anymore. I questioned my place in the family. I questioned whether my mother truly loved me or if I was just a reminder of the man she once lost. And most of all, I questioned why my father, my real father, was absent. Was he alive? Did he even know about me? Did he care? The need for answers consumed me. I dug through old letters, photographs, anything I could find. I searched family archives, questioned relatives, and even hired someone to help me piece together the puzzle. What I discovered both gave me closure and broke me even further. My biological father had been a man my mother loved in her youth. But he wasn't the kind of man who stayed. He had left before I was even born, chasing his own life, his own dreams, leaving her alone with a secret that could have destroyed her reputation at the time. My dad, the man I knew as my father, had stepped in, offering love, stability, and protection when my mother needed it most. He chose me when another man abandoned me. And yet, knowing the truth didn't heal me. It hurt more. Because I realized the man I lost, the one I thought shared my blood, wasn't truly mine in that way. And the man who was mine by blood had been a ghost my entire life. The devastation came not from the truth itself, but from the secrecy. If only they had trusted me, maybe I could have embraced the love my father gave me more deeply. Maybe I could have grieved him without the bitterness of betrayal. But now, every memory was tinged with doubt. I want you to understand something. Secrets are heavy. They may protect in the moment, but when they come out, and they always do, they crush everything in their path. That's why this story lives here, with you, with life's secret stories. Because sometimes the things people hide can destroy not just themselves, but the ones they love the most. So here I am, living with a truth I never asked for, a truth I can't ignore. My father's last whisper wasn't just a confession, it was a curse, passed down to me with his final breath. But it was also a reminder. Love isn't always about blood. Sometimes love is about choice, sacrifice, and the courage to carry a secret for someone else's sake. My father may not have been mine by blood, but he was mine by heart. And maybe, in the end, that's what truly matters. Still, the secret destroyed me. And I'll never hear the word Dad the same way again. If this story gripped you, if it left you questioning the truths in your own life, then you need to subscribe to Life's Secret Stories right now. Because the whispers, the confessions, and the betrayals you'll hear here are not just stories, they're reminders of how fragile trust really is. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and join me again for the next secret, the kind that will make you gasp, think, and maybe even see your own life differently. Because some secrets die with us. But some, like my father's whisper, live forever.